7, Kathy Friedman. So, I mean, I don't know why they called. She didn't really do it. So, hit the notification bell, like it or subscribe. Check out my other reviews for Wonder Man. So we have a job now. We are Wonder Man. We're officially playing Wonder Man in the movies. Both Simon and the Mandarin, he's the villain, he's the hero, and they're on set. And Simon being on set now, he's immediately doing the same shit he did in the first episode, where he's overanalyzing, he's over-talking everything, he's thinking too hard about it, and he can't even decide what he wants for breakfast. They're just like, hey, what do you want on set, Mr. Simon? He was like, oh, let me get a bagel with toast. Matter of fact, let me get wheat bread. Matter of fact, let me get turkey bacon. Matter of fact, let me get bacon. He's a pain in the ass. He's a pain in the ass on set. And I don't understand why he keeps getting acting jobs. But, and everybody on the crew knows it. They're just like, oh, we know that him and the Mandarin, they're like super close. They're like super tight. And that's actually becoming a problem now because his agent, he had a meeting with his agency where they were just like, hey, now that you got the Mandarin role, we've got other opportunities for you, like other TV shows, other movies, other projects. But his whole thing now is the Mandarin is like his unofficial like manager. So every time they asked him something, they were just like, hey, we got a role for you. He would turn to the Mandarin and say, well, what do you think? And then the Mandarin's dumbass, he was just like, oh, I think you should go to theater. But they're like, bro, like, we're trying to get this money. They're just like, okay, you could do theater, but while you're doing theater, we got this project that makes actual money. And then they made a comment. They were just like, there was supposed to be a meeting with you, not with you and him. But one thing that his management did tell him, they said that they set up a meeting with him with a New York Times reporter called Kathy Friedman. And she's supposed to be like the worst of all time, where like she buries actors and everything. And it's like a nightmare, having her around. But so Simon is kind of nervous about that. Plus, he found out that before she came to talk to him, she had a conversation with his ex-girlfriend and also with his family, like with his mom and with his brother. So he was freaking out about the ex-girlfriend. He went and spoke to her. He was just like, what did they say? And then she was just like, I said nothing but good things, Simon. And then she was like, don't worry, I didn't tell them about your superpowers. And then he was like, how did you know? And she was like, bro, like we were fucking for like a couple of years. She's like, I know you got, she's like, plus you got a temper problem. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I understand, like it's not that big a deal. So, but then his whole thing is, he was like, oh, I got to worry about my brother because he's like, my brother had it out for me and this is his chance to ruin me. And I don't understand, why on earth would he think his brother would, like, if him having superpowers is a huge family secret, if it's a hidden secret, which I assume his other family members have powers as well, they're probably aliens of some sort. So if he has superpowers, and his brother knows he has superpowers, and his mom knows superpowers, why would his brother tell them that and ruin his acting career after telling him his acting career would never take off? Because he would be a hypocrite because he's ruining an opportunity he said he would never have. Plus, if they find out that he has powers, his whole family's under the government eye. So I'm like, why would he? So Simon freaked out about that over nothing. I thought that was like really strange. I was like, bro, your brother doesn't hate you that much to the point where he'd fuck up shit with his own family. But then the reporter said, Kathy Friedman said, she was just like, oh, because they sat down and had a conversation. Kathy was like, oh, your family said nothing but nice things about you, said wonderful things about you. Your ex said wonderful things about you. She's like, now the Mandarin, on the other hand, she did a little research, and then he was like, what about me? And then she said that she had the footage, I think it was like episode 2, where the government rolled up on him at the airport and the government took him in. Now she was like, oh, you were on trial, like you were locked up, for terrorism, and you didn't finish your sentence, you got let out. So she was like, what deal did you cut with the government in order to get your freedom early? And then he got mad and he was like, I won't stand for this, for this sort of buffoonery. And then he got up and he walked out. So then Simon chased him down and Simon was like, bro, like, did you cut a deal? Like, what happened? And then that's when he told him, he was like, well, the government basically let me out to follow you around. They wanted me to catch you and dig up some dirt on you. And then Simon got upset. He was like, all this time you've been spying on me and I thought I could trust you. Because see, the whole thing about in the beginning of the episode with him putting all of his faith and trust into the Mandarin, they were setting that up for the moment where he finds out that he's been spying on him. So now it's because the thing is, if he would have said, if they didn't have the scene where they talked about, oh, you guys have a bromance, or, oh, every time we ask you a question, you ask him for his advice and ask him what he thinks. If they didn't have that scene when Simon later finds out and he's just like, oh, I trusted you, as an audience, we would have been like, huh? So they just try to like emphasize that point, you know, to make it seem like it meant more in this moment. I still didn't feel it at the moment. But anyway, Simon felt betrayed. He left, you know, he was like, I don't want to see you again. He walked away. He goes, now this is weird. He goes back to the set, to like the lot where they're shooting Wonder Man. And then in an emotional rage, he lets his powers loose and he blows up the set. He blows up the hangar, the lot where they're filming the movie. And I'm like, why would you blow up your own set? That doesn't make sense either. But interesting enough, when he blew up the set, Kathy Friedman was still there. It showed her like walking like around somewhere. She heard the explosion and then she turned around. So I don't know if she's going to find out that he was the one who did it or if they just put her there just to put her there. But that's pretty interesting. Like I said, but it ended with Simon like in a purple rage, you know, because he found out that, you know, his boy betrayed him or whatever the case may be. That was how this particular episode ended. And thank you for tuning in. So I don't know. I mean, I don't understand the point of the episode being called Kathy Friedman. But whatever. So Simon knows that the Mandarin was, you know, spying on him, although he really didn't. I mean, he kind of did. He did tell the government he was going to sell him out, but I don't know. We got one more episode to go, and for the love of God, I hope something happens. But share your questions, comments, and concerns down below, and we'll continue to talk about it. Check me out on X. Check me out on Instagram, on YouTube, and TikTok, where you can leave those questions, comments, and concerns. For all fashion, fun, and everything in between, go to my second YouTube channel, Bright Eyes Media, for all my fashion show footage that I put up for all the fashion shows that I went to. Got more coming in the pipeline. Like I said, for you Marvel fans, we got Daredevil Born Again coming up in soon because March is right around the corner. And we got one more episode to go till we conclude Wonder Man and see where all this foolishness goes. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. So until next time, look out for Kathy Friedman, apparently, because she's the biggest bitch of all time. Until then, we're out this bitch.